that was her chalking it up to a mistake?
Yeah, she said it was just her mistake by saying it was earlier today, but it actually occurred the day before.
Okay. Did she represent to you, or actually did you represent to her at that point that you were very concerned about where the baby was?
Right.
And that was what your intent was in questioning her?
Right.
All right. Did she report to you that it had been 24 hours then since the baby had been missing?
Right. Once we got the date straight, we figured out it had been over 24 hours.
Now, the conversation that you had with her that was recorded, was that impounded into evidence at the Tempe Police Department?
Yes, it was.
All right. And after you spoke with her, did you take any other action in investigating this incident?
No, after I relayed to Officer Mosquito what I had obtained from Elizabeth, I left the scene.
Okay. Did you contact Frank McQuarrie?
Yes, I did.
All right. And did you also contact Robert Johnson?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And was that to inquire as to the whereabouts of the child Gabriel?
Yeah, we were just trying to figure out if maybe the child was with them.
Okay. And did you receive any information that the child was with either of those parties?
No.
Okay. And did you also relay that information to the other officers at the scene?
Yes.
Okay. And then you left the scene?
Yep.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit 119.
All right.
Okay, and is that the recording of your conversation with Ms. Johnson that day?
It is.
Okay. And at this time, the people, or the state moves to enter into evidence Exhibit number 119.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 119 is admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Now, Officer Smith, before we listen to this, there's some background music in the recording. Is that from the store?
Yeah, that's the store's. It was around Christmas time, so they had the Christmas music over the PA system.
Okay, so we're going to play that. Before we do, Kim's going to pass out. Let me make sure, counsel, this is correct. What we're passing out to the jurors right now is a transcript of what they're about to hear, and the transcript's an agreed upon transcript. In other words, both the state and the defense agree that the transcript you're getting is an accurate report of what you're about to hear over the speaker. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's pass that out before we play it. Before we start, a couple things, ladies and gentlemen. At the conclusion of this tape, we're going to collect these again. You can't keep the transcripts, but now that the audio itself is in, that's an exhibit that you'll have back in the jury room when you're deliberating, so you'll be able to listen to it again, but you won't be able to keep the transcript going forward. Okay, so we can go ahead and play the audio.
That was over the day off.
So he returned the child to you yesterday?
He came back to the child at about 1 o'clock. Officer Williams was there, and then I went to return the phone to my neighbors. That's when Officer Williams said bye to me. Is everything fine? I said everything's fine. Yes, Logan, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And he left.
Okay. Officer Williams.
Officer Williams left. Logan was in the house. I was not. I was at my neighbor's house. His cell phone, my phone was out.
Okay. Then what happened?
And then I went back to the house and we talked.
Okay. Okay. And then what happened?
And I said, I just out.
Alright. Okay. Did you take the child with him?
Yes.
What kind of child?
About 1 o'clock.
About 1 o'clock? And then what happened? You called the police? Because you originally called.
I didn't know what I was wondering. Like an ultimate experience.
So we left the child yesterday.
Yesterday, and then I was worried. be back in about 10-15 minutes. He wasn't. I had those cars in there. I called the police and said there was no car accident.
We run a community report. What time? Officer Williams, what time?
I believe it was like 12:30 ish. Officer Payne about that.
So, okay. So you left at 8 o'clock in the morning with the child, came back at 12:30, and Officer Williams was there. Correct?
He was there for a couple of minutes.
Okay, and the child got returned.
He was brought back, he was returned, and then when I went to go to return the cell phone, he talked and he left with the child.
Did you call the police station?
Me.
Why did you call the police station?
Because I had no idea where my child was. I had no idea what happened. I was in my car accident.
I understand.
I was 36.
Listen to me. You called the police originally, so the Officer Williams was dispatched to the scene. Okay. You had Logan come back with the child. Right. Am I correct? Tell me yes or no.
I don't know if he had Logan come back with the child or Logan come back on his own.
Okay. So either way, Logan came back on his own with the child with Officer Williams there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then he went to the neighbors, returned the phone, correct?
Yes.
Then he came back to your apartment and Logan was gone, correct?
No, that's not correct.
Okay. What is correct then?
While I was returning the phone, Officer Williams said, okay, everything's fine, blah, blah, I'm not going to have to come back here. I said, no, of course not. So he left, drove away. I went back to my apartment. My boyfriend's still there with the baby, and we talked for quite a while.
Okay. Then what happened?
Then he left.
Okay, did he take the child with him?
I told him to left, yes.
Okay, what time did he leave? Last night.
It wasn't last night, it was in the afternoon, around 1:30. I don't know, I was...
So he left at 1:30.
I don't know the exact time.
Okay, he left at approximately 1:30, 2 o'clock, whatever. He left at after 1 o'clock yesterday. Was he with Gabriel?
Yes.
And you were okay with him taking Gabriel at that time?
Yes, I just wanted to know where he was, why he didn't call me, and to call me and let me know where my child was. That's all I ever wanted to know.
Okay. So he took Gabriel last night?
Yeah. No, not last night.
Yesterday afternoon after 1 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. And today you became concerned? Is that what I understand?
I was absolutely perfect today. Absolutely confident and reassured that everything was fine because, we had settled things with the police officer until I got a mysterious call. So I thought something was up. I didn't know what. No one would call me but him from this store. I called it back 3 times.
All right. So you came over here?
Yes, very concerned. I just want to know what happened because he called me and then I kept calling and no one would answer me back and I'm like, what's going on? And you can understand me freaking out.
Okay. So what happened when you got here?
Absolutely nothing but me walking in, seeing him. He was right in that aisle next to you and he went that way and went around, so I followed him. And I've been here many times before and I've gone to the back with him. There's never been a problem.
Okay. So what happened once you got to the back?
I knocked on the door. This girl that I haven't even seen coming from behind me, I don't know her name, I've never seen her, never met her before, just tackled me and trapped me and just wrestled me, and I don't know why. I didn't say a word to her, and nothing happened, and I really wish that you guys would believe me and check video cameras.
There's no video cameras back there. I've already looked.
There's no video cameras back there?
Just in this main hallway.
Convenient.
Well, I've got 3 people saying that nobody ever touched you. You tried to push past one of them to get in
there was just me and whoever that girl was, and she had blocked me and wrestled
Just
me.
you 2, right?
Yes, and I didn't do anything. I just stood there like, what are you doing? Who are you?
Okay, where did that happen?
Right over in that hallway.
Well, there's 2 hallways. There's this straight one and the one that goes out.
The straight one and the one that turns.
Okay, well, which hallway did it happen?
The one that turns.
Okay. The employees only area.
I wasn't in the employees area. I was in the hallway.
Well, that hallway says there's a sign that says employees only.
Not in the hallway.
It's on the door.
Hallways, bathrooms, and...
Well, that's the hallway that runs this way.
Okay, well maybe I was wrong.
I'm asking you.
Okay?
I wasn't there, so I gotta
didn't
get...
think I was wrong, okay?
Yeah, I
I thought I was right. I thought that it was okay for me to come here and... I didn't even want to come here. All I wanted to do was call about the emergency with my son. See where he was. All I
Why
wanted.
did you assume there was an
I
emergency?
called 3 times.
Why?
He called me first.
So, we gotta get this, come to a resolution here and
Yes,
find your
we
son.
do.
So, how are we gonna find your son?
I don't know. You just told me that there's someone going to my home.
Trailer? Yes.
Is it going to be in the trailer? Is Gabriel going to be inside the trailer?
He's not in the trailer.
Okay.
He's 7 years old.
Where else would he be?
So again, that's what I came here to confront him about, but he
You said he turned over the child yesterday at 1:30. Hasn't seen the child since.
999 different items, priced at 99.99 cents or less every day. Fresh bags of Dole salads, potatoes.
Why didn't you call the police?
Delicious tomatoes.
After
lettuce,
he left with your kid the
broccoli,
second time.
cauliflower, juices, bread, and milk. Save more.
Officer
Shop
Williamson.
99 cents only stores first.
ingrained that in my brain. It's his son. He can do whatever he wants with him. He can do whatever he wants. He can go wherever he wants. He can take the child with me. Me and Officer Williams had a very deep conversation.
So why
And
have you been...
after Officer
Go
Williams
ahead.
left, I was completely calm and fine with everything.
So why have you been lying to me and Officer Jones this entire time?
What have I lied about?
When it happened, the order and what it happened, what was going on?
What happened?
When did all this take place? You calling the police and everything?
I told you like 5 times.
When?
I called at like 10 o'clock.
Which day?
Tuesday.
So why for about 45 minutes where you kept on saying this morning, this morning, this morning? Happened all this morning. Happened today.
I wasn't lying. I really thought I was confused. I'm sorry. I've been upset. I've been distressed.
You were confused about what day you
I know it was Tuesday because I know it was the day he was off of work.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And then when I asked you when he came back at like noonish when Officer Williams was there, you told me he didn't bring the kid, he just picked up stuff.
No,
Ma'am?
I did not tell you that. He brought the kid, he picked up his stuff, and he left.
I specifically asked
I was
you.
fine with it.
I specifically asked you, was your kid there? You said no. He just showed up because he said he wanted to pick up his property. That's not true? So that's gonna lie?
Play it back, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're wrong, you are wrong.
Play it back. I don't think I'm wrong. Why are you guys doubting me?
Because we're getting stories from 3 or 4 other people. You're telling us. No, I'm not talking about yesterday. I don't doubt what you said about yesterday at all. Not even a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay. My only concern.
I don't think I'm pregnant. Nobody wanted to call me.
What's your name? Elizabeth. Okay, Elizabeth, my concern right now is where the location of the child. That's it. That's my main concern.
I don't have him. I've been trying to look for a job. He's supposed to be taking care of him. If he doesn't want to be with me taking care of him, that's fine. I don't care. But if someone calls me at this time of night, I get a little worried. And
How is it?
especially when Logan tells me he's going to call me on his break after he calls me.
Did he tell you that personally or somebody in here?
He told me that personally.
Yeah, well, it sounds like some kind of game that both are playing.
that you didn't talk to him.
When did he tell you that?
Somebody called me from this number. I picked up and hung up.
Yep.
I called back, busy signal. I called back again. They put me on hold for a while. He said he'd call me on his lunch break. He hung up on me. I called back again, and again, put on hold for 10 minutes.
Where do you live right now? You still live at that trailer?
Yes.
Do you have any family members here in town?
Not in Tempe. I have one in Scottsdale. I have 2 in Scottsdale.
Who's there?
My grandfather and my brother.
Grandfather?
Which I also called the family that day, wondering where the heck my son is.
Okay, what are their names and what are their phone numbers?
They're both the names of Robert Johnson.
Okay.
And my grandfather's number is 480-947-1188.
You have Channel B call.
And my brother's number is 480-505. I don't know, I'm sorry. Well, my grandfather provided me this number. I called the both friends. Telling them the same exact story I'm telling you. That he ran away with my child. I have no idea who he was.
Give my phone on you, I'll call. I don't have mine on me.
So, what is it going to take for me to believe me?
I'm believing you. I'm trying to get to the child. That's all.
That's how I found. That's like, I thought
Leave for
Logan was
7.
going to actually tell me something, give me some information, which is why I came running here. And I want you to come back and see the phone records. He called me first.
sorry, I don't have my 21 on me. Can you make a 21 for me, please?
I did. Everybody, no, that's not why I came here. That's not what I said at all. That's not one word of what I said. I did
Going around?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Gracias.
And I said, almost been 24 hours.
According to him, you had it. According to Logan. Who am I supposed to blame?
Say there was
Oh, you don't construct the center?
Officer Smith, I know that near the end there's a lot of unintelligible voices going on there. Do you remember any parts of that last part of the conversation?
No, I don't.
Independently? But as you left it with Elizabeth that day, towards the end of your conversation, she had continued to report that the child was still missing.
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Cross-examination? Okay, thank you. Officer, oops, wait a minute. Let me see if the jury's got any questions for you. Any questions for Officer Smith before we let him step down? Doesn't look like it. May this witness be excused, Ms. Romano?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Ms. Clark? Yes. You may step down, thank you. And the state may call its next witness.
Detective Duplessis.
Okay, let's go ahead and get Detective Duplessis. Ms. Romano, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, would you please state your full name for us?
Yes, my name's Gary Duplessis.
And Detective, how are you employed?
I'm a peace officer with the City of Tempe Police Department.
And what is your position there?
I'm a detective on a person's crime squad.
All right. And how long have you been in that position?
I've been a detective for 12 years. I spent 7 years working with youth in school settings. And then for the last 5 years, I've been on this squad and also on an auto theft squad.
And how long total have you been employed by the City of Tempe?
Over 15 years.
And I'm going to draw your attention back to December of 2009. What was, you were a detective at that time, correct? 'Cause I believe
Yes, I
for
was.
the last 5 years you were on the which detail?
Person's crimes unit.
And at that time, did you become involved in an investigation involving a missing child by the name of Gabriel Johnson?
I did.
All right. Now, during that investigation, did you originally become involved on or about December 28th of 2009?
This is true.
Okay. And how were you asked to become involved in this case?
On the 28th, I was asked to attend a briefing that was held by Patrol with the Criminal Investigations Division, where we were briefed on the incident that had been reported the day prior.
Okay. And when you refer to a briefing, can you briefly explain for the jury what that means?
Patrol, members of the Patrol Division briefed us about the report that they had taken the day prior involving the missing child, Logan McQuarrie, the father, and Elizabeth Johnson, the mother.
All right. And so essentially, they gave all the information that was known at that time regarding the investigation?
Yes, including the written report.
Okay. And you stated that specifically you were asked to attend a court hearing that day?
I was.
Okay, and did you attend that court hearing?
I did.
Where was that held?
It was at the Family Court Center in Phoenix.
All right. And when you went to that hearing, were you the only officer that was present, at least as far as in an investigative capacity?
From my department, yes.
Okay, and what was the purpose in you attending that hearing?
I was directed to attend the hearing to answer any questions that the court may have and provide some testimony, some background about the report that had been filed the day prior.
Now, previously to going to that hearing, did you ever meet Logan McQuarrie?
I met him that day in the lobby outside of the courtroom.
All right. And did you get information from him about what had been going on at that point?
It was just a very brief meeting. I had been able to read the report and listen to the briefing, as I said earlier.
So he didn't advise you of any new information at that point?
None that I recall.
Okay. Now, did you in fact testify to the court?
I did.
And did you give the court the information that you had thus far regarding the investigation?
I did.
Okay. And at the conclusion of that hearing, what occurred?
The judge granted temporary custody of Gabriel Johnson to Logan McQuarrie.
All right. And did the court issue a document signifying his ruling?
The judge did.
Okay. And specifically, does that include a warrant to take custody of the child should the child be found?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked as State's Exhibit 54. Do you recognize that envelope?
I do.
And what is that?
This is an envelope, and it says original physical custody warrant. It has my name, my badge number, and it has my initials and ID number on the back.
And does that indicate that you impounded that item into evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you please take the document out that's located inside?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the document that you retrieved from the court that day?
It is.
The state moves to admit exhibit number 54 at this time.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 54 is admitted.
Now, Detective Duplessis, once you obtained this information, or once you obtained this document from the court, did you do anything else that day with regard to this investigation?
Yes, ma'am. I
And
did.
what was that?
I met with the county attorney. A charge of custodial interference was filed that day. I then met with a judge who issued a national arrest warrant. And then I met with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, who entered the national warrant into the NCIC database.
Okay. Did you also contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children?
I did.
Okay, and what was your purpose in contacting them?
We were requesting the National Center's expertise in trying to locate the child and the mother and the vehicle involved in the incident. They're a well-known resource for investigative agencies. They're able to push out information to a wide-ranging network of sources and law enforcement contacts.
Okay. Now I'm going to draw your attention to the date of December 30th, 2009. On that date, did you take action also by contacting the Arizona Bureau of Health Statistics?
I did.
And why did you do that?
I contacted the Bureau of Health Statistics to flag the birth file of the missing child so that if anyone ordered a duplicate copy, we would be notified.
And did you follow up on various tips that were coming in at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'm going to draw your attention to the date of January 10th, 2010. At that time, did you assist Detective Thompson in preparing a presentation?
I did.
Okay. And was that for the San Antonio Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and in preparing for that presentation, did you review various police reports and various items of evidence that were taken in this case?
I did.
Okay, and was the purpose of that to brief the San Antonio Police Department on what had occurred thus far?
The purpose was to assist Detective Thompson with this large volume of information so that he would be able to have an organized group of data to be able to make his presentation to San Antonio Police.
Right. And in helping Detective Thompson prepare for that, did you in fact review some field interrogation cards?
I did.
Okay, and a field interrogation card, what is that?
In our department, a field interrogation card, what we now call a street check, is something that we use to document contacts with people that typically don't represent a crime. So it would contain things like identifiers, phone, address, names, and the general reason for the police contact.
In particular, did you review a field interrogation card dated December 8th of 2009?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that indicate that there was a report made that Gabriel had been missing on that date?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was made by Elizabeth Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
And the report determined that there was not a missing child as the child was found with the father, Logan McQuarrie, at the grandmother's home.
This is true.
Now, did you also review the Tempe Police Department incident report dated December 9th, 2009?
Yes, ma'am.
And was this in regard to a disturbance at the workplace that had occurred at a 99-cent only store?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also review a field interrogation card dated December 21st, 2009?
I did.
And was that a request by Logan McQuarrie for assistance from the Tempe Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and was that in particular to help locate his child for his court-ordered parenting time?
Yes, that's true.
Now, in addition to reviewing those field cards and the police report, did you also make copies of recordings from a digital recorder that Logan McQuarrie had provided?
Yes.
And how did you make those copies?
The digital recorder that Logan McQuarrie provided to Tempe Police was an early model of digital recorders. It didn't have a USB flash drive attached, and so I manually had to play the tape recordings in a quiet area at headquarters and record them with my late model digital recorder. And then I was able to plug my recorder into my computer and burn CDs.
Okay. And in making copies of those recordings, did you also listen to the recordings and create summaries of those recordings?
I did.
All right. Were there approximately 10 recordings that you made from that recorder?
There were.
Now, talk to you a little bit about those recordings. The recordings that you reviewed, did they include recordings between Logan McQuarrie and Elizabeth Johnson?
They did.
Did they include a recording between Logan McQuarrie and Tammy Smith?
2.
Did they also include recordings of phone calls between Tammy Smith, Jack Smith, and Logan McQuarrie?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in particular, the recordings involving Elizabeth Johnson, did those include the recordings where she claimed to have killed the child?
Yes, ma'am.
And in particular, with the recordings involving Jack Smith and Tammy Smith, did they include the first contact that Logan McQuarrie had with Tammy Smith at her place of work?
Yes, ma'am. Phone call, yes, ma'am.
Did it also include subsequent conversations where Tammy Smith and Jack Smith discussed the adoption of Gabriel Johnson and the whereabouts of Elizabeth Johnson at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now I want to zero in a little bit on some particulars in those recordings. With regard to the adoption of Gabriel Johnson, did Tammy Smith discuss with Logan McQuarrie different forms of adoption, such as open adoption?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did she talk to him about adoption on more than one occasion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In essence, was she trying to educate him or persuade him to consider letting them adopt Gabriel Johnson?
I think consider is a fair word.
Okay. And in particular, in dealing with the unknown whereabouts of Elizabeth Johnson and the child, did they talk to her about letting them handle the situation?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall the particulars of that conversation?
There was a conversation between Jack and Logan, primarily, where Jack was explaining that Elizabeth wanted an adoption to take place, and that if he would sign paperwork, he would have 5 days to review his decision, and then Elizabeth would deliver the child to them and sign papers.
So was Tammy Smith in the background of this recording as
Yes.
well? Okay. And did they indicate that if this was done, that Elizabeth said she would come back with Gabriel?
Yes.
Now, in particular, regarding contacting Elizabeth Johnson during this time, what was said about letting them deal with the situation versus Logan McQuarrie calling Elizabeth himself?
Well, Jack made a comment at the end of the call that he didn't want him to mess anything up.
Did he say, let us take the lead on this? Or
Yes.
something to that effect?
Yes.
Right. Now, after you assisted in preparing this presentation, which included reviewing these recordings, you conducted further investigation, correct?
I did.
All right. In particular, on or about January 11th through the 13th of 2010, did you follow up by contacting an individual by the name of Craig Cherry?
I did.
And what was the purpose in contacting him?
There had been a news account with information that the name of Craig Cherry was written on some paternity paperwork associated with this family court case.
And so you were following up by getting information from him regarding that?
Yes.
All right. In addition, on January 14th, 2010, did you go to the court and obtain the court documents that had been filed in this case?
I did.
All right. And in particular, you obtained the originals. Is that correct?
I obtained all the originals from the clerk of the court.
And what was the purpose in obtaining the originals at that time?
We wanted to preserve them. I found out that typically original documents are scanned, and the scanned documents become part of the public record. Original documents are then held for a short period of time for a series of QC checks or quality control checks, and then all original documents are purged.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit Number 10. Do you recognize this envelope?
I do.
And what does that envelope contain?
It contains the original family court documents from this Superior Court case.
And are those the ones you picked up on January 14th, 2010?
They are. They have my name, my badge number, a description, and I recognize markings on the outside of the envelope.
Thank you. Now, also on the date of January 14th, 2010, did you participate in a search warrant that was conducted at Tammy Smith's residence?
I did.
And what was your role during that search warrant?
I was to document the scene by being the scribe.
Okay. And what does that mean?
In this incident, I took photographs of the exterior and interior of the home, and then I also, in the scribe role, my job was to obtain found evidence from the searchers, the other detectives that were helping us, and they provided them to me. I took them into my custody, bagged them, marked them, transported them, and impounded them.
And there were a number of items that others collected at that scene and that you then impounded into evidence, correct?
There were 8.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's marked as exhibit number 9. Do you recognize this envelope?
I do.
And what does that envelope contain?
Contains court documents, and it has my name, badge number, and my initials on the envelope.
And are those items that were seized at the home of Tammy Smith on January 14th, 2010?
Yes.
The state moves to enter into evidence at this time exhibit number 9.
Any objection?
No objection.
Exhibit 9 is admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may.
And Detective, the first item that I'm showing from this envelope indicates that this is a temporary guardianship by power of attorney.
Yes.
And is this one of the documents, I believe you already stated, that was taken from Tammy Smith's home that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you please read it into the record?
State of Arizona, County of Maricopa, temporary guardianship by power of attorney pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes, Section 14-5104, I, Elizabeth Joanne Johnson, delegate to Tammy Peters Smith and Jackie Dawn Smith all of the powers that I have regarding the care, custody, and control of my minor child, Gabriel Scott Johnson, born May 3rd, 2009, except the power to consent to marriage or adoption of the minor. Among specific powers that I delegate, and without intending to limit all other powers hereby delegated, I hereby grant the temporary guardian my full authorization to administer general first aid treatment for any injuries or illnesses experienced by the minor. I authorize the temporary guardian to summon any and all professional emergency personnel to attend, transport, and treat the participant and to issue consent for any X-ray, anesthetic, blood transfusion, medication, or other medical diagnosis, treatment, or hospital care deemed advisable by Tammy Peters Smith and or Jackie Dawn Smith, and to be rendered under the general supervision of any licensed physician, surgeon, dentist, hospital, or other medical professional or institution duly licensed to practice in the state of which such treatment is to occur. Dated this 9th day of December 2009, mother, and there's a signature, subscribed and sworn to before me this 9th day of September 2009. A notary public signature appears that is named Erica Flores, and my commission expires June 2nd, 2012.
And I believe you might have slipped earlier and said September. Is this dated December of 2009?
It is.
In addition, within the items that were found, is this a court information?
Yes.
Okay. And in addition, there's another document that was found. Would you please read that into the record?
Yes. Date Saturday, December 20th, 2009. Logan Scott McQuarrie has informed me that Judge Michael McVeigh ordered a visitation for Gabriel Scott Johnson on Saturday, December 20th, 2009 from 8 a.m. until Monday, December 22nd, 2009 at 8 a.m. It was not my understanding that this was an official order, but Logan Scott McQuarrie told me that he would file something against me in court if I did not have the baby ready for him to take on Saturday at 8 a.m. I want to do the right thing legally, therefore I am surrendering the child for a visit. Since I do not receive any child support, I am only going to furnish one bottle of Formula 1 diaper, a couple of diaper wipes, one blanket, and one sleeper. I just can't afford to replace items that are not returned. In return, I expect Logan Scott McQuarrie to drop Gabriel Scott Johnson off to me on time on Monday, December 22nd at 8 a.m. Address, phone number where Gabriel Scott Johnson will be sleeping during this visit. By signing this, we both agree to stick to this agreement for this visit with Gabriel Scott Johnson in order for all of us, especially Gabriel, to feel secure. Elizabeth Joanne Johnson, Logan Scott McQuarrie.
Now, aside from taking these items into evidence, did you conduct any further investigation regarding these particular items?
No.
Now, drawing your attention to the date of January 15th, 2010, did you obtain at that time recordings from Judge McVeigh at the Maricopa County Superior Court?
I did.
Okay, and were those recordings of the custody proceedings that had occurred in this case?
They were.
Okay, in particular, were there two custody proceedings that occurred?
Yes.
One on December 17th, 2009,
Yes.
and one on December 28th, 2009.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now the one on December 20th is the one that you actually attended, correct?
Correct.
You did not attend the one on the 17th.
I did not.
All right, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you Exhibits 59 and 118. Exhibit 59, do you recognize that envelope?
I do.
And what does that envelope contain?
It contains 2 DVDs, Superior Court and Family Court case number that's involved in this incident. Has my name and my ID number and my initials from when I sealed the envelope.
Okay, and I'm showing you exhibit number 118.
Yes, ma'am.
And what does that envelope contain?
It contains the recordings from the December 17th case.
Okay, and is that recording in exhibit 118 taken from the recording contained in exhibit 59?
Yes.
The state would move to enter into evidence at this time exhibit 118.
Any objection?
Objection.
Exhibit 118 is admitted.
And the state would like to publish 118 at this time. It is a recording that's about 22 minutes long.
That means it's probably time for us to take our break for the afternoon. So we're going to go ahead and take our usual afternoon break right now, and then we'll come back with Exhibit 118. So we'll be back in about 15 minutes. Until then, remember the admonition. We'll see you in about 15 minutes. Seated. Let the record reflect the presence of the jury panel, defendant, and counsel. We left off with Detective Duplessis. We're getting ready to play video and audio. Mr. Ramuno, why don't you remind the jury of what they're about to see?
Actually, I do have a couple questions for the detective to kind of put it back into context.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, you obtained, earlier you testified that you obtained the original court documents in this case.
I did.
And specifically, they contain the petition to establish paternity filed by Logan McQuarrie, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As well as the responses filed by Elizabeth Johnson in this case.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and in particular, the petition to establish child custody and parenting time filed by Logan McQuarrie, was that filed on December 11th, 2009?
It was.
And was that around 12:47?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the response that was filed by Elizabeth Johnson, was that filed on December 14th, 2009?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that at 17:18 hours,
Yes, ma'am.
which would be about 5:18 p.m.?
Yes, that's correct.
And the hearing that we are about to watch then occurred on December 17th, correct?
Yes.
And that was the hearing essentially that's in response to this petition and being filed.
Correct.
What is Gabriel's last name?
Johnson.
Johnson? Okay, Gabriel Johnson. A male child born on May 3, 2009. May I see that, please, again? Okay. By the way, you signed this acknowledgement of paternity as well, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's a sworn statement you filed under oath, so. Now, just so you know, you have the right to challenge his paternity, but if you do that, you're going to have to file a motion, And then if you want, you can ask the court to order a paternity test. But at this point, if there's going to be a paternity test, I'm going to order you to pay for it. And they're expensive. They're like $300 or $400. But legally at this point, he's the father, given your signing an acknowledgement of paternity and given the fact that you authorized the state to put his name on the birth certificate as the father. Like I say, you can ask the court, you can challenge that, and you can ask the court to order a paternity test, but at this point, if that's what you're going to do, then I'm going to order you to pay for it, okay? All right. Well, have the two of you lived together since the baby has been born?
No, the father's been in jail for quite some time after
Okay,
the child was
stop
born.
right where you are. Okay, the answer is yes or it's no. Have you ever lived together since the baby's been born?
Yes.
Okay, so a moment ago you said no, but apparently that's not correct. You did live together for some period of time.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Johnson, or I keep saying Mr. Johnson, Mr. McQuarrie, how long did you and mother live together after your baby was born?
The baby was born on May 3rd, and I was incarcerated in Tent City in the work furlough program, so I did get out every day to see the baby. I wasn't there when the baby was born.
Okay.
But I got out on June 18th,
Okay, so
and I've been living there ever since.
are you still living together?
No, recently just separated.
Okay, so you lived together from June 17th or 18th until when?
Till about a week ago, Thursday.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree with that?
It was always off again, on again. He would move out and leave, and
Okay. Okay, so do you agree with this much? That starting about June 17th or 18th until about a week ago, you lived together on and off?
yes,
Okay. More on or more off?
more on.
Okay. And that's two separate words, more on, not moron. Right here. Okay. Well, where is the baby residing now, Ms. Johnson?
Right now, he should be on his way to the courtroom.
On his way where?
On his way here.
Why would the baby be on his way here?
Why would he?
Yeah, I'm not going to have him testify as a witness. Why would you bring him
I thought
here?
it would be a good idea to bring him.
No, it's not a good idea. No. Okay. Well, where has he been living the last week or so since you've split up is really what I was asking.
Yes, he's been in my custody.
Okay.
I've been having help with babysitting from friends.
Okay, all right. Well, do the two of you have an understanding of what the difference is between sole legal custody and joint legal custody? Mr. McCoy, let me begin with you, and then I'll ask Mom. Do you understand the difference between the two?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what you think the difference is.
Sole custody is in my custody only. My custody and joint custody is sharing time with her and splitting the time, living time, and going back and forth.
Okay, what do you think?
I agree with that.
Okay, you're both wrong, so let me start over. You don't understand what the difference is, and that's why I was asking, because I'll explain it to you. Legal custody has nothing to do with the amount of parenting time the child spends with each of you. It has to do with how significant decisions in the child's life are made. When you share joint legal custody, neither parent can make a significant life decision on behalf of the child without consulting the other parent. What are significant life decisions? Significant life decisions are such things as where the child goes to school, education, what type of religious training, if any, the child receives, medical care, the big things in life, okay? Not whether the child goes to school with a peanut butter or a bologna sandwich, okay? That's day-to-day stuff, okay? You can share joint legal custody and the child can live 90% with one parent and 10% with the other. Or it can be 50-50. It has nothing to do with parenting time. Parenting time is an entirely different concept. So I'm only going to focus right now on decision making. And what I'm going to ask each of you, I just need a very quick answer. I don't want to hear your arguments today. I just want to know whether you favor joint legal custody, in other words, you share in the decisions together as a mom and a dad, or whether you think one parent and one parent only should get to make those decisions, and the other parent should have nothing to say about it. So, Mr. McQuarrie, you're the petitioner. I'll start with you. Do you favor joint legal custody, or do you favor sole legal custody?
I think it should be joint.
Okay. You believe that you should share in the decision-making with Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, do you believe that you should share joint legal custody, or do you believe that there should be sole legal custody to one of you?
I agree with joint custody.
Okay, so you and Dad should talk to each other before any significant life decisions are made, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. We've just made some progress, okay? No? I'll run the thing, and I'll give you a chance when we're done. If you have any questions, I'll let you ask. But let me get through what I need to get through right now, okay? Now we need to talk about parenting time. And so, before I go any further, Ms. Johnson, are you nursing the baby right now?
No.
Okay. How long ago did you nurse at all?
No, I never.
Okay, that's fine. Do you work, sir?
Yes.
What are your work days? What are your work hours?
I work 32 and a half hours a week.
Okay.
I work from 5 to 10:30 at night, or 4 to 10:30 at night.
4 o'clock in the afternoon until 10:30 at night?
Yes.
And what days of the week do you work?
It's different. I work 5 days a week, but they're different every week.
Well, what kind of business are you in?
I work at the 99-cent stores at Stocker.
Okay. All right. They're open 7 days, right?
Yes.
So you can work 4 out of any 7 days.
Yeah.
How much say do you have over your schedule, or does the store set the schedule for you?
They set the schedule, but I can request a schedule.
Okay.
A set schedule.
All right. Ms. Johnson, what is your work schedule?
I am not currently working.
Okay. Mr. McQuarrie, since your baby has been born, has the baby lived most of his life with his mother, most of his life with you, or would you say it's about equal? Until maybe the last week or so?
Equal?
Until the last week or so?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you say, Ms. Johnson?
Most of his time with me, all of his time with me.
Okay. Is that in part because Mr. McQuarrie is working during the day?
Yes, and also because he was in jail, and he does decide when he leaves and goes, and he comes and goes.
All right, fair enough. Mr. McQuarrie, what were you in jail for when your child was born and prior to your release in June?
A probation violation.
Okay.
I did 4 months to complete probation, and I got off.
Okay. Well, that of course begs the question of what you were on probation for. So what were you on probation for?
When I was 18, it was for, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think it was either possession of stolen property or attempted possession. Yeah, the attempted possession of stolen property, something in the
Possession of stolen property for sale?
Well, no, I was in a vehicle with stolen property in the trunk.
I see.
It was my friend's car, and we got charged with the same thing.
Okay. What class of felony was it? Do you remember?
Can I ask my father?
Sure. Go ahead and ask your dad.
Class was?
Class 5 felony? Okay. And you say it occurred when you were 18. How old are you now?
24.
Okay. That's a long time to be on probation, 6 years. Yeah, okay. And have you been discharged from probation after doing your time this summer?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a Class 5 felony on your record now, right? Okay, all right. Any other convictions?
That's my only conviction.
Okay. All right, now, tell the court, please, what you believe between now and the time we can get to a hearing, because we can't try the case today. What type of parenting time schedule you'd like to see over, let's say, the next 4 to 6 weeks. Just give me your proposal.
My proposal?
Yeah.
I would like to take care of the child and being in my custody so that I can make sure that he's in okay hands. May I say something on behalf of that too?
I'd like your proposal right now. Monday, give me a schedule where the child's with you and a schedule where the child is with his mother.
I could have him, most of the week, and she can.
Okay, give me a schedule. In other words, I would like to have Sunday through Wednesday morning, and I would like the child to be with his mother. I'm making it up, but giving you an example. I would like the child to be with his mother from Wednesday morning to Sunday morning, whatever the case may be. Just give me a schedule.
Monday through Friday, and she had him on the weekends.
Okay, that's your proposal. All right, fair enough. Now, Ms. Johnson, what is your proposal to share time between your baby and his father?
It would be the opposite, Monday through Friday with me and him having weekends.
Okay. Where are you living right now?
With my father.
Okay. Do you and your father live in a house or in an apartment?
A house.
Okay. Who else lives there other than the two of you?
His girlfriend and son.
Okay. How old is his son?
How old's Matt? 21.
Okay. All right. How many bedrooms are in the house?
3 bedrooms.
Okay. Is there a crib?
I have to get one.
You don't have a crib right now?
No, not
Okay.
right.
All right. What experience, other than this child, what experience do you have in raising infants?
Before this relationship, I was with a girl for 4.5 years and started going out with her when her daughter was 6 months old and helped her raise her daughter until she was 4.5.
Okay. All right. Any neglect reports to CPS against either of you?
I talked to CPS about it. Yes,
Okay.
They said they were going to do an investigation on the both of us.
Okay.
And
When did you file your CPS report?
It was filed. The case numbers on the paperwork. It was last week, and the baby is in her care. It's with another family.
All right. Okay. Is the baby in your care or is the baby with another family?
He is in my care, and everything he's saying is not true about
Okay.
CPS. He filed that in retaliation, and it was closed the next day.
Yeah, well, the timing is curious. Yeah, timing's curious. I'll acknowledge that. All right. Why don't you pick 3 days during the week that you'd like?
Can I do Mondays and Tuesdays and Saturdays?
Okay, Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. And then any reason that you're not available to care for the child on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday?
I would like to request him have maybe Sunday instead of Saturday because I do go to, I take a class Sunday.
Can I do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday?
Sure. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Good. Okay, we made a little progress. I'm sure neither of you are completely happy with it, but there's some progress there. Okay? So, it is ordered that until the temporary orders hearing, actually, I'm just going to set it for a final hearing, Dan, and we'll order a parenting conference. It is ordered that the child shall reside with mother from Wednesday morning through Sunday. Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. until Sunday morning. What time do you go to class?
In the afternoon.
Okay, until Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and with father from Sunday morning at 8 a.m. through Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. We'll set this for a hearing, and I'm going to order a parenting conference. And Dan, I'd say about 90 minutes. Are either of you receiving any forms of government assistance for the baby?
Yes, I am.
You are.
I provided it all for him.
That's fine. It's a 4D court then, 4D case, which means that I will not resolve the child support issue, but I will forward this to the assigned 4D court. Melinda will forward this to the assigned 4D court in order that a child support hearing may be scheduled. Okay? Well, what assistance are you receiving?
Medical assistance and food stamps, and I'm also on WIC.
Okay.
Child.
Yeah, that's going to be a 4D, so let's just send it on its way. Okay? All right. When you leave here, when I leave the bench, and before you leave here, Melinda, my clerk, is making out a couple of little lavender slips for you each, okay? And those lavender slips are for a parenting conference. What's going to happen at a parenting conference is someone from the court, on behalf of the court, a master's level or perhaps somebody with a PhD is going to do a parenting conference, and they're going to make a custody evaluation for the court, and they're going to put all of that information in a written report prior to your hearing. What they will do at that parenting conference is they will interview mom, they'll interview dad, and they're going to gather a bunch of information that's really important for me to have and know about before the hearing. They'll put that in about a 10, 12-page report. They'll send a copy of that to each of you, and they're going to send a copy of that to me. I will read that before the hearing. I will expect that each of you will have read that before the hearing. Not going to be favorably impressed with either of you if you fail to show up for the conference, you show up late, you conduct yourselves inappropriately, or if you haven't read the report before coming into the court. So please make sure that you have shown up on time, been polite and cooperative, and finally that you read the report before the hearing, because it's going to be an important report where you're concerned. I want to, before I say anything further, Ms. Johnson, how old are you?
I'm 23.
You're 23, okay. From the little bit I know, this case has gotten off to a kind of an ugly start, a really ugly start. But there's been some progress here today. You agreed to joint legal custody, that's a positive. And neither of you seem to have a serious problem with sharing time. I mean, I'm sure you think 4 days is too much for him, and you think 3 days is too much for her, but, you know, the reality is you're going to share time with your child for the next 18 years. It's not going to be a situation, unless one of you is clearly unfit, it's not going to be a situation where one of you has no time with the child. You're going to have to share time. Sharing doesn't mean 50-50. Maybe it does mean 50-50 if the court finds that appropriate, but usually 50-50 is not the plan. The child needs an anchor. The child needs basically one place to call home, and that said, it's more important that he spend quality time with each parent rather than quantity time. But the thing the two of you have to get by is, once you've decided you don't want to be a couple anymore, that's fine. Get rid of the notion that you need to be a couple and start focusing on the notion that you need to be a couple of parents. You're going to make your child's life miserable for the next 17 or 18 years if the two of you do nothing but attack each other and run the other parent down to your child. You're going to make your child's life miserable. You need to knock it off, and quite frankly, I'm going to put it as bluntly to you as I can. It's time for the two of you to grow up, okay? And just be a good dad and be a good mom. And part of being a good dad means being supportive with your child about his mother. In other words, encouraging the child to love his mother and to spend all sorts of time with her. And your responsibility as a mother is to do just the same thing, is to support your child's relationship with his father, even if you're not particularly crazy about him. Your child needs that security. So that's as much as I'm going to say to you now. We better settle Christmas here and now, or we're going to have a problem. So you're each going to get one of the 2 days. Do you prefer Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Day.
Okay. Do you prefer Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Day. We
Okay.
spent Thanksgiving with her family.
Okay. This year, you will get Christmas Eve. This year, you will get Christmas Day. Next year, it reverses itself. In 2009 and every odd-numbered year thereafter, father shall have the child for Christmas Eve and mother shall have the child for Christmas Day. In 2010 and every even-numbered year thereafter, mother will have the child for Christmas Eve and father will have the child for Christmas Day. Christmas Eve is defined as December 24 at 8 a.m. through December 25 at 8 a.m. Christmas Day is defined as December 25 at 8 a.m. through December 26 at 8 a.m. Do either of you have an order of protection against the other right now?
No.
No? Okay. Don't do something that some parties do, and it will not sit well with your judge if either of you do it. Now, if either of you feel you need to take out an order of protection against the other person because something happens after today, that's fine. But don't leave here and go to some other judge and put your child on the order of protection so that the other parent can't spend time with the child. That will frost your judge something fierce. You should only do that if there's something that occurs after today that is a danger to your child. After today, don't start using your child as a pawn in orders of protection, or you will draw the wrath of this court, both of you. All right? Dan?
March 26th at 8:30.
Our hearing is March the 26th at 8:30. Okay? Thank you, and good luck to both of you.
All rise, please. This is just a survey.